Some planets are as solitary as true hell, simply floating through space, and some have even managed to trick astronomers. Here are a few of the horrifying. 1 of the loneliest objects in the cosmos is located approximately 80 light-years from the Sun. PSO J318.5-22, a planet with a long name, is unique in that it doesn't orbit around a star. PSO J318 is a member of a unique group of planets known as rogue planets, also known as orphans or nomads. These planets have been expelled from their planetary system and are now wandering through interminable space. Ironically, the lack of a prominent star benefited astronomers. They can directly examine PSO J318's brightness without the host star casting a shadow on it. Because of the PS1 Panoramic Survey Telescope pan, stars are used for the surveillance. The extra light makes it difficult to observe things on Earth. It made it possible to capture hundreds of infrared photos, which show that the planet is brighter and 8 times bigger than Jupiter. The planet has numerous layers of thick and thin clouds, rotates completely every 5 hours, and has a surface temperature of 1470 degrees Fahrenheit, according to variations in its brightness. Surveillance performed by a group of astronomers using a new technology telescope at the European Southern Observatory in Chile allowed them to create one of the first somewhat accurate weather forecasts for a celestial body beyond the solar system. And now, a quick weather report. We're expecting a cloudy but very warm day with dust storms several times the speed of sound and possible precipitation in the form of molten iron rain. The estimated age of the planet, it's around 12 million years old. Scientists don't know exactly how such planets are formed, but they theorize that such objects were either unsuccessful stars, gas giants, several times as large as Jupiter, or planets ejected from young planetary systems after encountering another planet and under the influence of its gravitational field. After being cut off from the gravitational influence, they don't return to their original system, doomed to drift through space until they're pulled into the gravitational field of another star system. As a result, there's an issue with the classification of PSO J318 and similar planets, because many scientists tend to refer to such objects as sub-brown dwarfs, hinting at their temporary state. Not yet a star, but not quite a planet, a gas giant, either at least as we know it. Although scientists have records of quite a few rogue planets, this is only the beginning of their research. We're likely to be amazed by the news of the properties of these incredible interstellar objects in the future. 2. Next is Korot 7b. No umbrella will save you unless it's constructed of titanium on an exoplanet with unusual precipitation. On planet Korot 7b, rocks are continually falling. This strange planet is somewhat larger than 1.5 times the size of Earth. It is roughly 1.5 billion years old. It is only 489 light-years away from us, which is relatively close. When Korot B was initially found in 2019, it was regarded as the first Earth-like rocky exoplanet by astronomers. We categorize it as inhospitable with no chance of life being there, though. The sunrise would be the final thing that ever happened to you if you were fortunate enough to see it in this world. You will be burned to ash as soon as the sun rises above the horizon, according to the morning rays of star Korot 7 in the monstrous or unicorn constellation. Because of this, the sunrise on this planet is brighter. We are 60 times farther from our sun than Korot 7b is from its star. In essence, the Ceres 7 star is 360 times bigger than the sun as it appears to us. The surface of the planet's sunlit side can get as hot as 4,700 degrees Fahrenheit, 2,600 degrees Celsius, which is hot enough to cause rocks to melt and vaporize. Then, an amazing phenomenon occurs. Hot rock vapor rises to the higher atmosphere, where condensation takes place, turning the vapors into the fine gravel during the colder front passing, which leads to the small rock fragments falling to the ground, better known as the literal rock rain. Looking deeper into it, some theoretical models suggest you can come across an entire ocean of lava on this planet. The situation is made even more dire due to the fact that the planet is locked in this position, with the fire and sulfur side always facing the host star. At the same time, the other side of the planet is very cold, with surface temperatures reaching as low as -390 degrees Fahrenheit or -235 degrees centigrade. Astronomers think that Carrot 7b formed initially as a gas giant, which was 100 times larger than Earth, but as it moved closer to its star, the gas membrane was getting thinner under the influence of the solar wind, until all that was left was the rocky core. Such is the unenviable past of Carrot 7b and the no less terrifying present. We hope the rough conditions of that world didn't put you off, because we're moving on to the next planet. Although the next horrifying world doesn't have the same inferno-like conditions, it certainly fits into the category of places you never want to go near, because trying to get to J1407b would come across an endless belt of rock and ice. It's tempting to compare this massive gas giant to our Saturn, because it's surrounded by gigantic rings, except they're 200 times wider than the ones around Saturn. Saturn only has 3 main rings. J1407b has 30 rings, spanning over 110 million miles. Now let that sink in. That's 20%, more than the distance from Earth to the Sun, which is 93 million miles, which is 1.2 astronomical units. For comparison, the radius of Saturn's largest ring is only about 300,000 miles. Rings of this scale only form thanks to the mass destruction of a planet's satellites. 3. And the next planet is surrounded by a real mystery. We're talking about Fomal Halt b, formerly known as Dagon, a distant world that didn't exist. Are you intrigued yet? Well, let's dig in. Let's go back to 2004. The Hubble telescope discovered a gigantic cold debris disk of gas and dust. Immediately, the theories about the object started circulating, including the estimation of the planet's size, which could be 3 times as large as Jupiter. Furthermore, the scientists still hadn't managed to get a look at the huge planet, which was supposed to rotate around Fomalhaut, one of the brightest stars in the night sky. Located relatively nearby at 25 light-years away, with a radius twice as large as the Sun, research showed that Dagon was behaving in a very strange manner. The speed of the object kept increasing as time went by. 4 years later, in 2008, the news that an image of Dagon was captured, causing a real sensation in the scientific community. It was proven that the planet is much smaller than estimated previously, with a mass somewhere between Earth and Mars. The dim glow of Dagon in the infrared range and its inability to affect the debris ring of the Fomalhaut star indicated a low mass. 4. Next, we'll see the death-plotting merry-go-round. We will locate WASP-12b there, a planet that science has deemed to be doomed. For a variety of reasons, including the fact that the planet is torn apart by its host star, sending individual pieces of it out into space, existing on its surface is impossible. WASP-12b appears to be a gas giant with a radius that is roughly twice that of Jupiter. On the other hand, Jupiter does one complete round around the Sun in only 12 years on Earth. WASP-12b completes one orbit of its host star in a single day. The planet will only be able to survive this suffering for a maximum of 10 million years, according to astronomers. After that, the planet will fully disintegrate, creating a cloud of gas and dust that the star will eventually eat up. The planet also accelerates as it trades matter with its star. Scientists had previously believed that such an exchange could only take place between stars. WASP-12b's incident is the first known instance of this phenomenon occurring on an exoplanet. This gravitational dance heats the planet, making it reach temperatures up to 4,100 degrees Fahrenheit, making any possibility of life on its surface obsolete. But 5 years after the planet was discovered, the Hubble telescope managed to use the spectroscopy method to detect the signs of a water stream, an incredible discovery considering the conditions on this planet. The other shocking discovery is that the hard surface of this planet, if it indeed exists, can be made of graphite and diamonds. The reason for that is the high concentration and density of carbon in the composition of the planet. Some media outlets even nicknamed WASP-12b the Diamond Planet. But for now, scientists are more inclined to think the vast majority of the carbon is contained in the planet's atmosphere in the form of carbon monoxide and methane. Thank you for watching this. For more content, like and share our channel for more information.